Hi guys, I hope you all can hear me fine. I have the AC on. I just wanted to go live today and talk a little bit about me as Drug-free Spoonie and what that means, why I chose that name. So I like to always start with a little disclaimer. There is a lot of pill shaming in the world. There's also a lot of it within the chronic illness community. That's not what I'm here to do. I am completely against pill shaming. The name drug free is something that, first of all, was kind of necessary for me. Um, or being drug free is something that was kind of necessary for me. It took me almost 2.5 years to get diagnosed. So I'll go into my diagnosis story in another video. It's also up on my blog at drugfreespoonie.com if you want to read it. Um, so in those 2.5 years, I didn't have a diagnosis, so I didn't have anything to treat. And I found that when I went to the doctor, they would sometimes pick some of my symptoms and try to prescribe something that to me didn't make sense. So in that time, I started doing research and found ways to treat my symptoms naturally. And once I was diagnosed, I also decided that I wanted to continue to treat naturally for the most part. I am 100% down to take prescriptions if I need to. Zofran is like my best friend a lot of times dealing with nausea. But for me, being natural is something that just works better. I'm very, very sensitive to everything that I try. That includes any herbals. I just find it easier to cut dosage and to find things that work with my body better when I am doing things naturally. Another thing that comes along with me being drug free is that I also try to translate that into my daily life. So I'm trying to eliminate a lot of toxins around my house. So I love brandless. I use Target 7th generation. I'm just trying to reduce the toxic load in my body. It's already going to be enough for my liver and my my lymphatic system to try to drain these toxins from killing these parasites and these bacteria. So I'm trying not to give my liver too much extra work. So those are just a few reasons why I'm drug free. Spooning, I know that a lot of people in the chronic illness community don't like the word spoonie either. For me, when I discovered kind of the word spoonie and therefore discovered the community on Tumblr, actually was the first time that I came across it. Um, it was amazing, honestly. When I discovered the word spoonie, I wasn't diagnosed yet. So for me to have a way to put into words what I feel and a way to explain that to my friends and family so that they can understand. And my best friend will text me sometimes and be like, "Oh, I know you probably don't have enough spoons for this," or my husband will say, "If you have enough spoons later, can you help me with this?" It makes communication about my illness with people a lot easier. So that's where the name Drug-free Spoonie came from. Um, when I started my blog, I didn't have a diagnosis yet. And I have found that a lot of people in the community dealt with similar issues. It took them years to find a diagnosis, or they still weren't diagnosed. So that's what made me decide to start the blog. I wanted to get my story out there. I wanted to let people know that they aren't alone in the journey. That diagnoses sometimes do take a long time, and that you need to be an advocate for yourself. I wanted to be an advocate for others. I wanted to teach other people to stand up for themselves, and that sometimes that's the only way to get a diagnosis. Again, I don't want to go too much into my story. Sorry about that. I got a phone call. Over those 2.5 years, I saw 7 doctors. So I would have just kept seeing doctors if I hadn't done my research and figured out that it might be what I thought it was. And I saw a specialist for Lyme, and that's why I got diagnosed with Lyme. So I share that story because I know a lot of people with Lyme and other illnesses will go through something similar. And I want them to know that they aren't alone in that it can get better. You can find your answers, but you will have to be a fighter and you'll have to stick up for yourself. So that's why I created Drug-free Spoonie. I also would like to let people know that you can do it naturally and that it doesn't have to be expensive. So I like to share my story first and foremost. Then I like to share tips and tricks as to how I'm living my story, how I'm dealing with the things that I have to deal with. And I'm always open to answering questions. I'm most active on Instagram at drugfree.spoonie. I haven't written a blog post in a long time. You know, brain fog makes it hard. But I love sharing tips. I love answering questions. I love talking to people about what we're going through. I think that having a support system in chronic illness is so, so, so important. And a lot of people don't have it at home. So I think that can be a support system for a lot of people. Let's see, I got some messages here. Oh, I'm so glad it's helpful. If you have any questions or you need someone to talk to or anything like that, you can check me out on Instagram. Again, I always reply to my DMs. I love talking to you guys. I have to go. My husband is blowing up my phone. I don't know what he needs, but it was super fun. I really enjoyed this. I'll be back soon. I'm not sure when I'm going to do another live. But if you guys have any suggestions or you have any questions, things that you want to see, just shoot me a message and I'll try to get back to all of you. Bye.